Good morning, everybody, and this is your Forex day trade setups for today. So starting off with EURUSD, we're still very much stuck in this range that we highlighted yesterday, and you can see the buyers stepped in off the bottom and drove it up. Now, there is a trend line here, so that's the first trend line there, and you can see this break of the trend line, and that is the retest of the trend line. So then there is another trend line right over here, which has also now been broken and potentially a retest. And then we have another trend line here, which looks like it's the one that needs to break next. Okay, so we're going to leave that one in. And I think we can take that one out. I think the first thing to understand is that we had that trend line, it broke up, came back, tested. Destroyed pretty much everything that I was looking at. I was looking for dollar. I was looking for dollar strength, but anyway, we're looking like a dollar weakness at the moment. Well, on this pair, but I think this is going to continue like this until the election. So we're going to have 2 weeks of this, as far as I'm concerned. If you come down to the hour, are there opportunities to buy? Probably are. Obviously we want to wait for pullback, so what we're waiting for is sort of a pullback. I would say something like that, pullback onto 117.462, and then we're looking for a move to the top of the range. And I think let's just get a decent top in so we don't get burnt. I think that's more the top that we want. I just want to get rid of the square. There we go. Okay, so what we're looking for is a pullback onto 117.462. Your stop is below the swing low here, and that is 116.850. And what you're looking for is a target around 118.761. Okay, I expect we're going to just muck around in this range for quite some time. Okay, this was a pretty strong move to the upside, so let's just see what happens. I'd look for a bit of consolidation, bit of pullback, and then a breakout. The other way to take this, if we don't get the pullback back down here, is a break of the high, that's 117.938, break and retest of the high, and then you're still looking for the same target. Okay, US dollar, Japanese yen. So here is where we have a bit of a situation, because we're in an area of massive resistance at the moment. If you look to the left, you can see slap bang on the middle of a massive area of resistance. We've got a long-term trend line here, so I don't expect that to give way that soon. And then we've got this upward trend line here, so we are consolidating, and that's kind of the pattern that you'd expect before elections. So you'd expect to see some kind of consolidation until we get some direction. Okay, so remember, we've got political noise, and then we've got virus noise that is running amok right now. And then obviously you've got stimulus noise, which doesn't look like it's going to happen. So all these things are impacting the dollar. If we come down to the 1 hour, you'll see what I'm talking about here. So at the moment, we are playing with this level here. Remember, we've got a trend line up in this area. It's not going to be exact, as you can see, like this one here. Trend line is never going to be exact, but it is going to offer resistance. That is a weekly trend line, which is not visible on the weekly chart, but you'll see here. There it is there. Okay, so we've got a weekly trend line. You can see how it's been volatile, and we're coming onto this level here of 105.627, and we're just mucking around here. Okay, so the advice that I've got for you is fairly simple. What we're looking for is to trade inside this range. Okay, so pull back onto this area here, okay, of 105.484, gives you a target up here of 105.627. So not really that big, is it? Up 137 points. So I think I'll stay away from that until we see some breakouts of some sort. Okay, just a new pair. I've dumped the British pound USD and brought in Euro Aussie dollar. looks like a little bit more volatility on this pair at the moment. So yesterday we had what was looking like a rejection off this area, but we've had a breakout. Okay, so that breakout is fairly bullish. So what we're looking for is pullback onto structure, and at the moment, as you can see, we have this area of resistance that we're heading for at the moment, and then I would expect pullback. So I would expect a pullback onto some form of structure, and those are my two levels I want to see pullbacks onto. So 165.848 and alternatively 165.545. So if we can get a pullback into that area, come and test this break, that would get me long. Okay, so I think we're still probably going to have a short pullback, and then ultimate target is going to be 167.710. If we get through 167.710, then we're looking for consolidation and then a breakout. Okay, so that's a pair that's new on the watch list, but we need to see the pullback before we buy into that. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, a couple of scenarios playing out here. So we had this trend line yesterday. We had a measured move up here as well. Okay, I'm just going to pop straight down to the hour because you're not going to see anything on the 8 hour. So you can see that was a double bottom. There was our measured move, and we sort of, what time do we do the video? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, somewhere around here we did the video, and sort of waiting for the pullback onto this area here, which didn't happen, and then looking for a move up into this area where the measured move was. So the trade played out, although the pullback onto the levels didn't really play out. But what I do want to highlight, and this is something about gaps, is gaps 9 times out of 10 don't always pull back to the gap itself. They pull back to the nearest breakout retest and then bounce off there. They do close eventually, but normally this is kind of the scenario that plays out. First onto there, and that's where the buyers step in, and they drive the previous target first. Okay, you can see the previous target was just missed, but it was a trend line retest. You can see there's a trend line retest. There's a horizontal level area of convergence, and you can see the seller stepped into that. Okay, so above the moving average, below the moving average, complete chaos at the moment. And if we just now pop back to the 8 hour, and I just want to delete all the noise. Let's look at this a little bit more in depth. So we've got a bigger trend line here, bounced off that. Okay, and now we have broken this. Let's get back down to the hour now, and let's put this in. So there is our wedge. Okay, so from a technical standpoint, we have a measured move in play here, and this is the one I'm going to take. So that's pretty much where we should be heading to. Okay, so 69.078. If we just come back to the 8 hour, have a look at that. Massive area of support in that zone. So that's kind of what we're looking for, which should give us a new lower low. Okay, so how do we trade this? We're looking for, obviously, pullbacks and then opportunities to get short. And I just want to maximize that a bit because there aren't many. I suppose that would be the closest one. As you can see, quite a bit of action there. So any kind of pullback onto 69644, that would get us down to the bottom here. Okay, obviously being a wedge, what you'd want to see is a pullback onto structure. So let's just do this structure. Okay, so there is a trend line break. As you can see, there was a rejection of it already on that level. Okay, so look for the pullbacks. Could also be this little Brooks gap here. You might actually get away with watching for something on the 15-minute. But yeah, trend is down at the moment on the 15-minute, and you can see it's forming another little wedge as well. So if you're watching this on the 15, what you could possibly be doing at the European Open is watch this area here. Okay, a break of that, sort of a move to retest, you've got to stop just above it, and you've got a fairly decent target. So your reverse risk to reward here is basically 100 points to 330 points. Okay, British pound, Japanese yen, pretty much going nowhere. You know, there's a lot of noise around Brexit, but obviously not any noise that any currency traders are looking for. And if we look at the 1 hour here, I think I'll keep my money out of this market completely. So there, essentially what we are is range bound. Okay, so there's our range. I'm not even interested in looking at it. Aussie dollar, US dollar. So yesterday we had some signs of Aussie dollar strength. That's all gone this morning, and we are now looking at Aussie dollar weakness. One thing that I can see here is this area that we are heading for, which is this previous swing low here. Remember, there's a little gap right where we are now as well. 0.70 has got a lot of support there. There's a lot of support at 0.70. You can see if I swing back, quite a bit of support there. So I don't foresee it breaking through that at the moment, but anything is possible. You know, we have trended up fairly strongly, and now we're going sideways. Created this massive lower low and lower high here. So yeah, if we do break below this, I would expect a retest of that, and then that would get me short again. So very possible that this trend has changed, or we've reached a top, and this current trend on the hour is to continue. So to move with that, what I would suggest is to watch for pullback onto structure, and that structure is around here at 0.7710, and you're looking for a rejection of that level, and then you're looking for a continuation short down to 0.70. Okay, that's pretty much the only trade that I can see at the moment, and if we can do that, you can probably get away with a 200 point stop loss here for a 570 point gain. Okay, last one, British pound, Aussie dollar. Now, again, lots of Brexit noise, but as I said yesterday, we back in this zone here. We need to see us clear this zone for anything to happen. It does look like we have a bit of a inverse cup and handle forming, so I would argue that a break of 184178 is going to be extremely bullish. So if you look at what's happening here, you can see it forms a massive inverse head and shoulders. Okay, so there's a big shoulder there, big head, and another shoulder here. Okay, doesn't matter which way you look at it, whether it's whether you're seeing it as a head and shoulders or you're seeing it as a range. So that would be my range. This would be a fake out of the range as far as I'm concerned. So that is what I'm looking at. This little box that we drew yesterday, we can actually get rid of and come down to the hour. And you see it's really messy here, but I would expect it to tag 184178 and then pull back. And the pullback is what's going to be key. So if we can come back onto some structure, something like that, or a little bit further down around there, if we can stay above the moving average as well, that would be something which would excite me. So 183.3867, or alternatively 182.889. But then we're anticipating a break of this major level here just above us of 184178. So the safest trade on this is to wait for a break of 184178 and a retest, and then we start making higher lows, and that would be an opportunity to get in long on this. The thing about the long, if you look at this sideways motion here, a break and a retest of that, then we've got a gap up here. We've got some really good targets all the way up, and it'll be a bit of a structured move up like it was a structured move down. So this is something to keep watching at the moment. Okay, anyway, that's kind of the view today. A strong bit of advice for you is get down onto a 20-minute or 30-minute chart and use that for your entry and exits. It is extremely volatile at the moment, and I foresee it staying like that for the next 2 weeks. Okay, and that's kind of my view today on Forex. Hope it helps, and we'll catch you later. Cheers for now.